Has it got a cafe downstairs, Chris?
It's called the Brilliant Farmhouse Cafe.
Yeah, I wonder if we could maybe just get him to come in here and just sit downstairs with the wee one. That's what she was looking for. She was looking for a cafe just to sit with the wee one.
There's one down the stairs actually. Do you want to make a start then?
Could do, yeah.
Yeah, and I'll just need to adjust that seat as well. Just to be in the shot as well. So make sure that's the chair in the shot, then we'll adjust it. I think we're just about ready to go. I think we're all good actually.
Perfect.
Yeah, should be all good. I actually hope so. Yeah, we're all good. Let's make a start then. Is this not going to fall? No, it shouldn't fall. Yeah, let's go for it. Yeah.
Alright.
So welcome to the Hats Up Pay Down podcast, episode number 8 now. We're joined by the band Rudeface. How you guys all doing?
We're very lovely. It's a bit cold, but
It's freezing out there. But it's so good to get you guys on. So you guys are from, you guys are actually up from Fife actually, I believe.
just over the water, yeah.
Really, great stuff.
We're pretty familiar with this area, like all to different degrees, and obviously we played a few gigs here, but it's always nice to come here and see parts of the place that we're not like familiar with. At least I'm not familiar with. Like even the walk up to here was really pretty.
Yeah, we went through this like park as well, and it's just really open, really open, really dope as well. So it's really cool. So, do you want to introduce yourselves? Then that's the main one. Just what you
Well,
do.
shall we go along in
roll?
order?
I'm Will, the bassist. I play the bass.
My name is Lewis. I'm the front man. I sing and play rhythm guitar.
Most people know me as Lemi. I play guitar too.
I'm Tom and I play the drums.
Absolutely smashed it. Absolutely smashed it. That's the podcast done. That's all they need to know.
Simple as that, that's the main thing. And then I'm Chris. I do the podcast. that's my role.
We all got to know our roles.
Yeah.
Honestly, to be fair, in the day, like modern media consumption with everything being in like shorts and TikToks, I would be surprised if you start getting like 5-minute podcasts or 30 seconds.
Yeah, 30-second podcast, yeah.
Yeah.
30 seconds, yeah.
100%.
No, it's not going to be that. Actually, now I think about it, and actually was thinking when, like, putting wee bits of shots, the subjects of the podcast, like.
Oh yeah, like when you're editing it together.
Yeah. Obviously you can do that for social media.
Advertise.
But if the entire podcast is just that, like you come and do a 50-minute shot, like, that's a good cast.
Like total like Joe Rogan setup as well. So
Yeah,
it's got like premium lighting and Christine. And it's just like, you know those clocks when you play chess, you just click it for 30 seconds and that's it. It's like, very pleasure to see you. You get like 8 guests in a day if you were like lazy. You get up to like fucking 100, it'd be great.
And then you get to understand the sliders, that's the main thing. Not quite there yet, but that'll get there. So we're getting there. So I think we've done the rules, anything?
I don't think we have. What are the rules?
The rules.
The rules. Yeah. So we've done that.
Yeah.
You don't do
rules.
fucking different, man. I'm anti-conformist unless the government tells us what to do.
Here we go.
Yeah. I give it like, we'll start like, we said to Will today, I was like, for the first 20 minutes we can like pretend to be like normal human beings and then it goes
just slowly let the facade drop.
Yeah, it's like those like fucking psychopaths, like they start smiling for a long time and then when somebody walks away they just like stare at the camera like deadpan. Like, it was lovely seeing you. Goodbye. So what is there to talk about? Do you have any questions in mind for us?
Yeah, of course we got, and the next question is the t-shirt question.
Okay, what's the t-shirt question?
So, what you guys are working out, but we can actually talk about clothing question as well, because we are working out different clothes on today, aren't we? Something bright, something blue, something green, something black,
Something cold.
Yeah, something in the warmth.
something red,
Yeah.
something pink.
I just try to achieve that homeless look, since I'm in the position, I might as well...
Achieve,
I might as well like try and look that way. It's easy to get money on the streets for free.
Yeah, exactly.
Walk past somebody, like, here's a quick one.
I've gone for the half really cold person and half indie wanker. Can I say wanker on the podcast? I can say that. Half indie so-and-so.
As much as I'm quite a vain person who care very much about styles and aesthetics, there is a very thin line that happens when it gets too cold. So as much as I'm wearing lovely baggy trousers, if those fashionistas at home want to see rocking the jammy bottoms and the long johns because it's cold.
It's really done that, so we're one tonight, literally, just doing this podcast.
See, the thing that's good about Edinburgh, at least, is in winter. Like, this place has like a little bit of a charm to it. Like, where we're all from, like, there's no like real grandiose Christmas market. There's no presentation. You don't really feel festive. You just feel freezing.
It's very quiet.
And this bit like is nice and like out of the way. You know, just obviously for those of you that don't know, we seem to be in a renovated farmhouse. It's quite nice. And
It's really beautiful.
Nice part of Edinburgh, that's what it is.
Is it?
Yeah, just anywhere outside the centre. Normally isn't too bad.
I've always wanted to just double check because you know you don't see what's behind, you know.
We're the kind of kids that like triple saved our PS2 just to make sure it actually saved.
Like we have.
So did I save it? It's like, yeah, but did I save it? Save it.
We all share like different collective levels of anxiety in relation to different things. So because of that, we all usually grind each other's gears to remember stuff.
Yeah.
Like the fact that today you had to double check that we weren't bringing instruments just to be double sure. And the thing is, it's not even a dumb concept because the amount of times that we get asked to do stuff and like we don't really know what we're doing until we get there.
Yeah.
We could actually do a concept find gear eventually when we have the game of this podcast.
We spoke about this briefly, yeah. Obviously, Dom runs the studio that we use, Greystone, so there's a lot of equipment that can be used. And you were just talking about the fact that you got a PA, but I don't think we need it for a place.
Yeah, we ordered a PA in May for a thing in like July for the skate jam thing, and it just arrived yesterday. So 6 months late, better late than never. Thanks, Hamilton's Music.
You just have to make sure that bit's there.
Yeah,
it's like thanks this specific person in
Hamilton's,
Renfield, thanks Dave in accounting.
To be fair, they did eventually get it to us, so it's like just took them ages to get it in stock. It's just annoying. Yeah, so we've got a full PA and stuff now, so we can put on gigs whenever we want. You know, we're not limited. Except by size of venue, we can't do like the O2 cabin.
That's when you get the PA, you just get another microphone and like, just put it on top, like a little dynamic.
Yeah,
show the
amplify
feedback.
the PA with another PA. You know?
The feedback on that would be lovely. It'd be harsh noise.
Or the worker rooms or something as well.
We need to play liquid rooms or something.
I know it's
much.
The liquid rooms, we could probably.
No, we could probably get away with it.
PA wise, we could. They've got PA in there, so it doesn't matter.
You don't even think about us playing.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about
the logistics of it.
that.
That was what it was like when we got that headliner as well. Like when we were in you weren't there the first night, but when we got offered. For those of you that don't know, we're headlining Dundee on the 13th of January next month. Be there or be square.
There's a
It's the same now. So.
Yeah, it's a beat generator.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But when it happened, we got asked, I want to say 4 days prior, and obviously we just were going down to play York. And beforehand we'd agreed, we were like, okay man, it was very like, nonchalant, well we have a gig, we need a slot filled, would you guys be up for it? And we're like, yeah, totally, that's fine. And then a few days go by and we get the poster back and then we find out that we're headlining it. And I remember when Lemi told me, I was like, you guys might want to see this. Two of them were buzzing and I just had my head in the hand because I was thinking about all the logistics of it. I was like, oh, this is going to be a nightmare. I'm fine now, I'm happy about it now, but I'm always one of those people, like you get something like that and you're like, okay, so how much is this going to be a pain in our ass before we can enjoy it?
See, I'm less worried about the gig itself, I'm worried about the bus home.
That's what he was doing, the logistics. How are we going to get there?
Oh yeah, we don't need to worry about planning.
All the trains back as well.
We played a few gigs in Dundee. I'm very familiar with the place, and for me and Will, it's really easy. Glen Rothes is like a 50-minute bus ride there and back. But for these two, it's a lot more difficult. Specifically you, especially when you're
No, living in Edinburgh and playing in Fife always has its caveats.
Living in Edinburgh and playing in Dundee.
Yeah, let alone Fife.
You've got to get through Fife.
I know, then Dundee.
And then there was a time that we played Arbroath, so we had to go through Fife and then Dundee and then into Arbroath.
Yeah.
Wasn't that like didn't you travel a total of like 75 miles in like one way in that day?
Yeah.
We left, it was not lunchtime, we left. 12 o'clock we left to get there for a gig that we didn't play until 7 or 8 at night. Crazy.
About 3 hours earlier than 3 minutes late.
Yeah, exactly. Well, better 3 hours earlier than just missing the bus, because that's what generally happens.
There's also that fear, yeah.
Thanks, Stagecoach.
We're going to use this podcast as an excuse to call out every person we dislike in every institution that we do. I know
It's
that
not real next.
it's not good content unless it's filled with hate, virtue, and anger. So is there there anything else that you would care to ask us? I don't know if you've got like pre-made questions or anything. Or if you just...
I don't actually do this, I do it on Saturday, so anything really.
Ah, right, yeah, no, like a bit more free flow and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Right, okay, that's pretty cool. Just because you obviously like you get traditional interviews, specifically more with like
I know that they do that, don't they?
yeah, they're always like, so how did you guys form as a band?
Yeah.
Like, what are all your tastes and influences?
Sometimes I go off sometimes I do go off the rails a little bit.
100%.
It's the best way.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you just get your podcast hijacked.
Exactly. How was the York game? So you were saying York as a
Yes, we did.
You played it.
That was really, really good. It was by total chance though that we got it. Like it was.
Yeah.
If I'll go on a slight tangent. See, I forget that we've got like no time limit and I can chat shit for Scotland.
Yeah,
so I'm just like to say stuff now. Usually they'll have to tell me to stop talking. But, yeah.
I don't ever tell you to stop talking.
Yeah, you join in actually.
Yeah, I'm just joining. You keep going with this.
But when
I like chat.
the way it all happened was about a year prior to us playing. I met the drummer for the headlining band, Hunter Gatherer, who are like an amazing bunch of guys, all York based,
Yeah.
really, really lovely. But by pure chance, I met their drummer. It was just like we were out drinking and stuff, and I came across him, and a total like bromance formed because I realised he was a musician. And then he went away for 6 months, and then he came back up, and he asked me again if we wanted to get together, and we did. And it's some like random flat at 3-4 in the morning. We started doing the classic, yeah man, we should totally play together, man. Yeah man, I'd love it if we did that, bro. And I totally thought nothing of it. It'd be a really cool pipe dream. But we eventually got a message like a few months later saying, "Are you guys free December 3rd?" And I remember totally freaking out and going, right, everybody back down the hatches. Doesn't matter what you got, it doesn't matter if it's a funeral, a birthday, or a wedding, going down to Yorkshire.
Without York, yeah.
It was really, really fun.
Unexpected journey.
Well, it was basically a glorified lads holiday as well. Because we
Yeah.
were playing on the Saturday, so we came on Friday and left on the Sunday. We really had a fun time. It's a bit more familiar for us as well because when we come to places like Edinburgh, specifically like myself and Will, we get a little bit claustrophobic. You know, everybody's quite shoulder to shoulder,
Yeah.
packed in.
Especially in the Cowgate, like everything's phically very claustrophobic.
Yes.
If you're playing in the vaults or Balamory, it's just like.
Yeah, so when we went down to York, we realised that there's a population like 100,000 compared to like this place, which is like over 500,000.
Yeah.
So as much as like you would go into the heart of the place, you would still find like a bunch of people shoulder to shoulder. You could like get breathing room, you could find somewhere to like sit
Yeah.
and like calm yourself. But the gig was absolutely amazing, and we're praying that we get back very, very soon. But we should probably get more gigs lined up in Edinburgh because like that was a really sweet thing you said. Like I should come through and see you guys again.
That was dope.
Mhm.
That's a funny story when I've actually not seen you guys live when we did an interview.
Mhm.
But you know, like, as you probably will, I probably will see you guys, but about when you do play Edinburgh, I definitely will come on and see
Oh, I'm
you.
gonna force their cards, like I can't keep affording, like I'm saying, going through to
Yeah.
500 it's
Yeah, it's
too
more
much.
convenient for Lemi as well. So there's
Yeah.
so many things just saying gig in Edinburgh, guys, and we just have to
Yeah.
just listen to the
Mhm.
voices of fate. You know?
Trying to listen, it's putting that front, like that foot forward, they're just too lazy.
We have such a weird form of executive dysfunction. We get so much done and do nothing about it. It's really weird. Like the amount of times that like I would bitch and moan at you guys in the group chat like, oh, we're not doing enough, or we're not doing this. We've still got like 4 gigs.
Yeah, we're fine. Yeah. But it's better being on edge and feeling like you're not doing enough rather than being complacent and saying, "Oh, we don't need to do anything." You know what I mean? It's like you're better being like that than you're sitting back on your butt.
If I don't, I'm such a neurotic person that if I don't keep doing stuff to do with the band, I will physically explode.
Yeah, but that's the, you just need to aim your like neuroticism in the right direction. You know what I mean? Before the onset meltdown starts, we're not doing anything. Let's get something done first. And Chris, you were saying something about speaking specifically about playing in Edinburgh as well.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of good sort of like stoner bands and a decent stoner scene. And we're sort of, even though we market ourselves as like a grunge revival band, we're sort of verging more every day towards stoner metal territory. So it's like, you know, we're not like totally just going down, you know, like we're not just like sleep wannabes or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like we take a lot of influence from all that.
We do still have songs above 50 BPM as of right now.
Yeah, it's still eclectic, as in, like it's still like people who don't necessarily like stoner metal can still listen to it.
Well, it's just kind of like the Scottish rip-off of the Melvins, if you really
And that's kind of cool. Yeah, but I guess like the secret's out, it's been foretold, you know, that's how it all is. And like our changes and like our tastes are very reflective of the music that we make now, I think, because when we first started we definitely had more of like a punkish thing to it. That's especially because of the fact that me and Dom have played in bands prior to this. We had one for about 4 years, punk band called Youth, and that's how this all sort of started because once that split up during lockdown, because a lot of things did.
Yeah.
Me and Dom basically, I still remember it, we sat down on the couch and played Time Splitters with Will, and me and Will have been best friends for, about 4 years, and he'd slowly been getting into playing bass guitar, and as me and Dom were sort of like, well, we kind of want to still keep making music. We didn't know what to
We didn't
do.
know how to do it, we were like just the two of us essentially, but then Will started learning bass and all that.
Yeah, and then we sort of sat for a bit, we're like, I don't want to do a 3-piece anymore, because that's what we've been doing for like a long time. And me and Lemi have known each other for a while, from like afar. We used to have very different perceptions of each other, but we eventually decided to like get together and meet, and it really, really worked.
It was correct, didn't it?
No, 100%. Like we were debating whether or not we'd have to look at other members and stuff.
Yeah.
But I remember it so well. Dom sent like some. I think we'd have like 5 or 6 songs by the time that we wanted to get Lemi on board. So we sent them over. Like we recorded them like as rough demos. And he was like, "Yeah, I can learn these in about a week, and it should be good. We'll get together." And then like 2 days in, you were like, "Yeah, by the way, like 5 of the songs are already done." And I remember just being in the kitchen with one. And I was like, "I like this guy. I like him a lot."
Yeah, let's go back to York again.
Well, yeah, no. When we went down there, the venue was great.
Was the venue great?
It was the Victoria Vaults, but we got really confused because whenever we saw it,
Sounds like it's in Edinburgh, doesn't it?
no, well, not like that.
It
But
also
like,
sounds like it's in the vaults, and I was like,
Yeah,
oh, so
yeah,
it must be
vaults.
within the, you know, the,
Underground
what do you call it,
vaults.
the,
Yeah.
but it's not, it's just, it's like one of these pubs that's just called vaults.
we were quite fortunate as well. Our hotel and the train station and the venue were all within like 5 minutes of each
That's
other.
great.
Yeah, because we would all sort of collectively agree that we didn't want to, have to travel like really far to go to one place
it's
and come
quite
back.
York is. I've been to York as well. Saying about York, and myself, I've been to York. I went to visit a pal down here, and went to the Rail Museum.
I missed it, I wanted to go and we were down, but I missed it and I didn't think to go.
It's actually just a walk around the station. You go
Yeah.
through one of the alleyways up on the bridge. Just walk along. So you literally get into the Rail Museum.
So more tempted to
It's
do
so
that.
good. It's so good.
I was like, no, again, I want to go to the rail museum, and Emma again, we're like, no, not a time. I'm like,
We were talking about this on the way up to meet you.
Yeah.
Like we were like,
you passed it on the way in, and I was like,
It's
so annoying.
we were mentioning the fact that like he Chris likes trains, and we were like,
Yeah,
oh, we'll
and-
get a conversation with Dom, and like,
and-
mad about trains. I love trains.
do you know the passes of trains then? And you
See, I'm more like, I'm less of a spotter, right? I do know my classes a little bit, but I'm less of a spotter, and I'm more into like heritage infrastructure
Yeah,
than I am like the rolling stock. Like, I'm not that
Yeah.
much into like locomotives. I'm more into like
yeah.
finding old bits of railway and like
Exactly.
stuff like that. Like Edinburgh's amazing for that because there's like
This is the
all the cyclopaths are like all old rail lines that
Yeah.
just have been closed since like the beach and that.
Like the Innocent Railway, we've got a place called the Innocent Railway, which has a massive long tunnel as well.
Yeah, is that the one at the back near where the Commonwealth Pool is? Is that
Exactly.
the one?
Yeah.
I've been under there a few times, it's pretty cool.
And you've got these, well, you've got their own head, I think it's their own head railway, it's an old disused railway line to Pennycook.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Then you got a railway line to Pencaitland as well, to Ormiston, by Ormiston and to Dalkeith.
There's one I used to have as well, where I used to live in Kirklis. An old railway that stretched like a good
Yeah.
3-4 cities long. It was bliss.
yeah, we used to be able to go on any walk with you, anywhere. And
Yeah,
you were- you know something? For those of you at home, we do have our sneaking suspicion that Dom might be a closeted autist. But we're trying to encourage
Not
him.
very closeted.
We're trying to encourage him to come out, and we'll love and respect him no matter what.
I'm actually a spotter, I actually do know all my classes inside. I was just fibbing, I was trying to make myself not look
So you don't come off too strong. You want to, be cool for all the train enthusiasts that listen to our music.
Exactly, I want to like the cool ambassador for all the
The ambassador for trains.
There's actually a railway line which we just outside here, and it goes along to Craigentiny. It's obviously the old freight trains that go along.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
The sheds would pure, the class 66s would just pure them along.
I've never been into trains too much, but like they're just
You know,
big hunks of metal that move. Like,
I mean,
I
the cool bit about metal that you can drink on them.
and sometimes they have steam coming out this wee choo-choo.
Exactly.
Thomas the Tank King.
Because I was obsessed with Thomas the Tank Engine when I was 5. Like, it was bad.
Every kid was.
I know, but like, there's so many like fucked stories that my parents have me being like, Lewis, you were into Thomas the Tank Engine.
You were physically inside Thomas.
There's one story that I want to tell, but I want to preserve my public image, so I just need to let it lie.
Lewis, you can't dangle that in front of us and then take it away.
We need like an after hours.
Yeah, that's like it's like giving a baby a lollipop and then taking it away. You can't do that. You've got to go the
No,
whole
that's
route.
just, what's that thing called again? You know where you like help somebody, character building, that's it.
Right, okay.
You know, sometimes the baby needs to have that lollipop taken away.
Yeah, but I'd rather, I think we all have like relatively established characters. I think Lewis is just teasing us now. And I think it's like,
Well, you need to.
just do it.
Well, maybe I'm just doing it for some repeat business. Maybe
Maybe it's
That's
the
the
scene
final.
or whatever.
Because like, maybe there's not even a story, but I want to appear dark and brooding.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like,
That'll come to the gigs and
Fair
find out.
Yeah, I'll go. Yeah, I mean, if you come to one of our gigs, I'll tell a story on stage about Tom's Tank Engine. It involves human shit. If anybody's more interested.
God.
Yeah. See.
Do you remember the Thompson and Magic Railroads? You know that, right? I really like Diesel. It's the Diesel 10 his name is. That's like the huge radio. Diesel 10 is like massive.
See, if you think about like I was thinking about it as well. Like I was thinking about like British television for children growing up, and specifically in the 2000s, because Lemi, Will, and myself, we're all sort of the same age bracket, and the Dom's like a few years older. But like for us as the post millennia children,
that was polite. It's a couple of years old, I think. Like, just a few.
Stop trying to keep it simple. Bear with me. The stylist couldn't come today, guys. I'm sorry. I was going to have makeup and everything, the nails were done. But yeah, I sort of thought about it recently, and if you look back at all like the early 2000s computer-based children's animation, most of it's actually quite terrifying.
Yeah.
There was a time when me and you were on the bus, and like many weird conversations happened when me and Will were on the bus to places because we don't like to sit in silence. And he was like trying to jog my memory. He's like, "Do you remember Bill and Ben, the Flipper Pop Man?" And I was like,
Yes.
vaguely. And he made me Google it, and then I found that. So, oh, that's fine. But then I found like the original Bill and Ben from like the 1950s, and it's terrifying. Like it reminds me, you know, like VHS analog horror. Like you can dangle one of those in front of it, and just be like criminal.
That's the thing about trains. There's lots of things that go on by them. There's a couple of these railways that are preserved as well.
Oh, right. Yeah, there are. Bowness. Like when I was a kid, like Bowness, used to go there quite a lot. And I didn't realise because I only got when I was a kid. I used to live. I spent most of my time living at my nana's, and she lived right next to the railway line. So I think that's why I like
that's
the
the
railway.
preserved. They have the odd aspect of some of them, don't they?
They do lots of stuff at Bowness. I don't know. I remember when I went as a kid. That was the last time I was there. It was like they had a little. It was like a little pug or something they had there. I can't remember. At the time, I don't think it was that. It was quite new. I remember when Dunfermline Upper Station closed. I don't remember this obviously because this was like when I was like 1 year old or something. But it was demolished. But when they closed and then eventually demolished Dunfermline Upper in like 1990 or 1989 or something, they took the old station or one of the old goods sheds and they put it over to boat. They just like put it on the back of a big truck. They just took it over.
Just fucking launched it.
Either that or they maybe half dismantled it, I can't remember, put it over. So they've got lots of stuff there that was sort of like taken, rescued from like other bits of old closed stations.
It's like a wildlife preserve, but for
locomotives. Trains, yeah, exactly.
There's like a train Steve Irwin. He's like, I just want to check the trains, mate. I just want to boil the leg and look after the trains.
Just like body slamming a train.
The train hunter. Well,
There's a nasty one.
There's something that's quite funny about where me and Will live as well. Glenrothes doesn't have a train station. I was originally intended to. So many people from where we're from, and for those of you confused, the two of us are from Glenrothes. Lemi's from
Surprised you wanted, but
got to represent even for me. And obviously Dom lives in Dunfermline, but there's a lot of people that come to Edinburgh from Glenrothes, and then when they're getting ready to get the train back, it says on the thing, oh, there's Glenrothes. What it doesn't show you is the full stop is called Glenrothes or Thornton, which is like about 10-20 minutes in the wrong direction. And it's not even, and it's like, you're like, oh, 10-20 minutes will be a fine walk. No, it's bad.
It's like pitch black, like soggy woods. You end up coming out of there and it's like you've been rolling about in the mud.
Yeah, it sucks. And there's many people that will always fall victim to it, and there are even some that will like get off in the train station and be like, so this is what Glenrothes is like, totally like confused. We had some down the bus today think that we were going to Dunfermline even though we were on our way to Edinburgh.
Yeah, we passed Halbeath and we're in Ferry Toll about to go across the bridge and we were like, yeah, we're going to Dunfermline, guys.
We kind of wanted. There's a part of us like we could tell them, but it'd be funnier. It'd be funny
not to. Yeah.
The worst part is though, is it said Halbeath Park and Ride for Edinburgh. It's like, bro, just read.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the thing that's really, really funny about the modern day, especially as you just get older. You get older, you get jaded, and you don't give the general public the benefit of the doubt anymore.
You just become moody and it's great.
Yeah, you can be.
Like, is it moody or is it just becoming more pragmatic and be like
Moody.
You know what I mean?
See, I like to call it.
That's what it's the two. They mean the same thing. Moody.
I think of it as like a general erosion of my sanity and like my love for my fellow man. You know, it's great when it rises when I'm on a night out. You know, and you're like, that's when everybody in Scotland's happy with each other. We're all like, you know, hugging and telling each other that like you're a real G. But like when me and Will or any of us really tried to get on the bus or walk about through like crowded areas, like suddenly you're just like. It's like that Bill Burr skit, it's like you suddenly turn into a dictator. It's like, who are these people in my room? They must be eliminated! It's like suddenly it's not even like a holier than thou sense of like, oh, everybody here is dumb and I'm smart, because people like that are even more insufferable. It's just like, I'm a very people-oriented person, but at the same time as I've gotten older, my patience worn more thin.
Yeah, exactly.
I was younger.
It's just like you still have time for people, but like it's like the qualifiers have become you're less overtly generous and less, what's the word I'm looking for, naive with your time for people. You know what I mean? It's like I've got time for people, but I don't have time for absolutely everyone, because some people are not worth the time. You know?
Yeah, we have to at least appear somewhat friendly so that people actually want to come and see us play. We can't just like come out the gate looking like assholes.
I think they prefer it if we were though.
Oh, the bad boys!
Yeah.
We need to start marketing ourselves like a boy band. I remember we talked about this in the we did a photo shoot recently in Dunfermline. We have a photographer, Carson, who's a lovely, lovely person. If we had more time, we could even brought him
Was
through.
that not the photos you did in the outside, or was that the one you did in the studio photo?
The studio. He does all of them. All of our photos
Yeah.
for like the last, I'd say since summer, are done by him.
Yeah.
And he's a cracking photographer. And we did this photo shoot in like a proper photo studio. And I like, my heart melted, because I've grown up a long time watching bands that will have that like white backdrop. And I'm a music business student as well, so like I understand like the knack for like marketing and the ability to look presentable. And we were in there, you know, trading like, you know, light colours and stuff. And I remember at one point I was like, we have to look lovely, we have to look sexy. We're like, Will's the lovely awkward one, Dom's like the big burly intimidating but friendly one, I'm the loud arrogant one, and Lemi's the dark brooding one. It all works. It's just like Backstreet Boys. It's Backstreet Boys but grunge, that's all we need. Before Alice in Chains were actually like that. They talked about that. They basically were like a boy band that got put in flannel and stuff like that.
Yeah, sort of like a lot of grungy bands in the 90s were sort of like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like really like Chris Cornell was just like such a handsome
Ah,
shit.
sure.
I was like everybody.
Yeah.
I would have shouted Chris Cornell, and I'm not even gay or bi.
You said this so many times as well. So I'm just you could, I'll go in his black hole, son, if you can. Won't you know?
Won't you know? I'm in my black hole.
Sorry, what were you going to say?
Yeah, someone actually just said to me, I look like Chris Cornell.
Oh,
It's the hair.
yeah.
This is awkward.
You know what? How about we leave the room and let you guys like? You can leave the camera rolling. We can market that as a different product.
Yeah.
So that's the
What's Chris Cornell then?
Yeah. No, like I get that. Like I get what you mean by like, the long hair and stuff, and the facial hair kind of like because he never really had that like full goatee. Sometimes it would be like a bit of a mustache.
Split.
Yeah.
So I look like I'm in time that's on.
To be fair as well, with the jeans and the boots, they all sort of like fit out.
You got the fit.
The Chris Cornell fit, man.
We didn't actually go through the t-shirt question actually.
Oh yeah, sorry.
We can't do this.
Sorry, what
cut to the chase, you know. Would you want to go first or want to start here? I might go first actually.
Alright.
So I'm looking at this Miss Me I shirt, this band from metalcore band to the United States. Miss Me I, are you familiar with them?
Me myself, no, but you.
Yeah, I love the bands. They make me feel like my emo 14-year-old self again, you know.
Yeah, well, this is like a Nirvana shirt. You can tell.
Yeah,
You know,
same
I
print.
like it when bands do that.
It's got this at the back as
Yeah,
well.
we do that a lot. They take lots of other styles of shirt and just make their own thing.
One of my favourite ones that I love that for is when bands do the Black Flag logo.
Yeah.
Because a lot of bands, because it's just 4 bars, so like
Yeah.
anybody can use it, and like people can really get creative with it. A lot of people also use it. You know, the Descendants, like that classic logo of Milo. Like every band under the sun will do it. Sometimes I've seen people that will have like flat caps with it and stuff. So what's your t-shirt?
I don't know.
Just roll on.
No, it's just a random old t-shirt I picked out the cupboard this morning. Didn't think let's take a jump on it. I didn't think about the t-shirt.
Let's have to do that.
So I got a Vans one. It's got a rose on it, and a little skull by hand that's grabbing up the rose. It's pretty sweet.
It's like a porcelain Russian doll. Like you had to like take one layer off and take another off.
Zip back up because it's cold.
Pretty cool.
Well, I'm not rocking anything too particular. It's Quickie Mart, my favourite retailer in Springfield whenever I visit there. And from the lovely high fashion retailer of Primark for the expensive price of £7 that my girlfriend bought me.
That's a plain back there.
And to be fair, the design on the back is absolutely gorgeous. But I was going birthday shopping with my girlfriend, and you know, I'm a real feminist because my girlfriend makes more money than me and buys most of my stuff. So I decided to wear this. It goes well with my shoes as well, you know, nice white, red and blue, like colour coordination.
Adidas and that.
Well, it's because it's
we feel like we should do that as well. We should look at some with shoes and.
Well, I only the reason I wear these now. I used to wear boots like you all the time.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
But I skate, so I always need to wear stuff that I can use for that. I tried to throw a couple of tricks and docks, and it didn't end too well.
See, I got these boots for work, but I found that they're just like the greatest pair of boots I've ever had, so I just wear them everywhere. It's like when it's icy like it is right now, it's just no fun.
Yeah, no. Meanwhile, like I had to shuffle with these to get up to even like the farmhouse entrance.
Yeah.
So what are you wearing?
I'm a Primark specialist too, you know. I got this for £4 at Primark as well.
That's good. Sorry.
I'm not gonna lie, I only bought it for one reason, and it's because I think this fits really cute on the arms. So that's why I've not really got a reason.
I'm just wearing a really nice George, what it has this, really nice thick puffer jacket.
But what are you wearing underneath it?
I'm wearing nothing, I'm naked.
You got a band shot on there.
I don't have a band shirt on. My t-shirt's a cry for help. my wife is a terror.
That's amazing! That's amazing!
You can read it that.
I'm so glad you brought that today. I didn't even know.
I thought wait, I was like, I'll just wait, I'll see if they ask me the t-shirt.
I completely forgot you even had
That t-shirt, yeah.
Why
just like,
I'm not gonna lie, you need to wear that to the Dundee gig.
I need to, man, honestly.
Because
Remember Becca was saying, she was like, because I wore it to a gig at, was it the Windsor in Kirkcaldy or something, I was playing the Lackeys, and I wore it, and Becca, well actually I really should name any people because they might get in a lot of bother for the response at the gig, but a lot of the lassies, a lot of the women at the gig were just like, like a t-shirt.
They actually stand in solidarity.
Yeah, just sort of like, don't want to be too vocal about it, like your t-shirt sort of thing, eh? And then I was thinking about wearing it to Barrowman's tomorrow, and they were just like, yeah, don't wear it to Barrowman's tomorrow, that's not very good.
Oh yeah, didn't you? Yeah, I remember you actually said that. No, well, you can wear it to any of our gigs, because I absolutely
Yes,
adore it.
that's brilliant. It's just the font. I really like the font. It's a really nice.
It is, it's very 70s.
Yeah, very sweet.
Yeah.
That's by far the most interesting t-shirt of the bunch.
Yeah.
I'd rather see the one.
Like I said, for anyone watching, it's a cry for help.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everyone seems to wear metal band shirts on and you'll
Mm-hmm.
with different shirts.
But to be fair, it's very indicative, I think, of like our behaviour, because I remember we did an interview a while ago, straight after a gig that we played at Purple Cat. I was outside, like still shirtless and everything, still like panting, and we just stood outside and we got this like quick interview when we were speaking. And one of the things that we like to say a lot to sort of sum up the way that we like to conduct ourselves, that we don't know what's going on half the time, but we know that we don't like it. When I said that, immediately like, so would you guys say that you're quite a politically driven band? And the thing is there's a lot of bands there's a lot of bands nowadays that I feel like they love to use whatever their ideology is as an excuse to make up for the fact that they make kind of subpar music. Yeah. Whereas we like making really good music to begin with, and in all honesty, we like taking the piss out of a lot of political movements. Because people when people try and like compartmentalize you, they're like, oh, so these guys are in solidarity with this and that, and it's like, congratulations, you've just managed to streamline being a consumer. Like you're not buying the band's music, you're buying their t-shirts to show that you stand with whatever they stand for, and they probably came up with that belief system just so that you could buy the t-shirt. So we love taking the piss out of that, like blatant consumerism and, you know, identity politics and dumb ideologies. So that's at least how I feel about it.
Yeah, we don't want to sound nihilistic, we're not.
No.
It looks like we're nihilistic.
It's absurdism at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's absurdism, precisely, yeah. It would just be like, people are just like, oh, so what do you stand for? I was like, well, whatever annoys you.
Yeah.
My political opinion depends on who I'm arguing with today.
Whatever annoys you the most, that is where I stand.
And that's not to say that we're baseless in belief.
No,
like
no,
we do hold a lot of solid, strong opinions. That's why we all like to hold.
But we can also take the piss out of our own opinion.
Yeah,
and
totally.
that's like a lot of people can't really do that.
Mhm.
They can't be objective about stuff like that.
Like there was
I can do that.
the punk, like as I mentioned briefly, me and Dom used to be very prominent in punk bands and punk scenes, and like whenever you'd see like certain venues, like there's the stencil. I don't know if you've seen it, but there's like a certain venues will have it where it's like no racism, no sexism, no homophobia, no transphobia, and all that, and it's like a very long list. And fundamentally, that should be like a
standard.
a given. But the fact
Don't be a dick.
but when they start applying it on a wall with like a a list in it, it's like to show that you're a non-conformist. How about you conform to these rules because we've laid them out?
It's live, laugh, love for musicians.
It is. Yeah, it's live, laugh, love for hardcore dudes in the 40s.
Who need to be told no.
They're like, no spin kicking in the pit, man.
Seems to be
That's good. We're starting to get into interesting stuff there.
And it's-
We're starting to get into
So we
philosophy
did we actually talk about socks that you wear on?
Oh,
I see
socks.
you wearing but different colour socks.
Listen, we didn't do these as fashion statements. I just can't
Yeah.
find the right pair half the time.
Mine are inside out, I think.
Hi.
No, they're not.
Converse
Just
ones.
Dickies socks.
I think this is
Converses.
the only time I've not
I think I've got these
in years.
because these jeans are
Very
really
nice.
those fucking jeans as well. with the dogs.
Forgot about that for a minute.
See, the problem is, I always roll up my trousers, and when you don't have the right socks on, you kind of forget, and people would just look at you, it's like, that guy's not very well dressed, is he?
So like Dicky trousers or something.
Yes,
Yeah, not stay like workwear ones.
Well, the thing is, I wear work trousers despite not having a proper job, just to really rub it in the faces of people.
I've seen that's a bit of a fashion thing.
Yes, it is. It's because I skateboard as well. So
Yeah.
I would describe it as leg trail. Like I used to love wearing like skinny trousers, but then when I started putting these on, you feel so like free. You can like do the splits if you want.
And they're quite stretchy and baggy as well.
Oh no, they're actually well ventilated. I mean, if I sleep in them though, I feel like I've woken up in a bathtub. So like you gotta take it as it is. But I enjoy wearing nice big baggy clothes nowadays.
It's hard to get drenched, but when they do, you feel like you're carrying a sandbag. It's horrible.
Yeah, it does suck.
So let's get ourselves back on the rails again. So that when you go back on York again, did you guys go to the rail when he's young?
No. We didn't actually.
That's actually amazing.
It was just him begging to go.
I wanted to go, yeah.
That's
You genuinely passed it and it was like a dog, like I was like, my head just
You
like,
can go on that, yeah, and there's like when it trains, like the old British trains, as the old, we were saying earlier actually, there's the old royal train preserved there, the locomotive would be the royal train.
Oh
The
yeah,
British one is preserved there.
yeah. There's a lot of stuff.
It's a
man.
class, I think it's a class 47 actually.
Yeah, load of heritage stuff there. Yeah,
Exactly,
yeah.
There's lots of old steam engines, it's actually amazing.
I like
Really go down there. It's really worth it. I think it's
like-
3 going as well.
Oh,
Is it really?
I think so, I believe so.
Labs Holiday 2.0.
Yeah, you should go next time for sure, as you got a gig in.
Yeah,
Like,
100%,
yeah.
Every metal band should go to the Asshole Nails here when they're going to gig.
That's heavy metal, isn't it?
That's all
Right, enough of that.
Trains of metal. We talked about trains on the last podcast as well. With we did the band Fatal Collision, which was the band from Glasgow in the previous episodes. And we went through it all the way up again.
Named after a train crash. A literal train crash, not like a proverbial train
It's a
crash.
good train.
Like this podcast.
They were like a thrash metal band, and we were just half the time we were literally talking about trains. We're getting off the rails. Let's maybe get ourselves. Let's maybe try to get off the rails and try and then try and talk about the music. That's the main event.
That's our next gig. We just need to get a train carrier and just like England to Scotland.
I just played in the back the whole
Just
time.
play in the back the whole time. Yeah.
Nobody's
Yeah, I
ever
bet you
made like
can.
a. Pete Townsend made like an RV studio in a truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's certain.
Nobody's done it with a train
That's
before.
the next one.
In fact, we do need to think about
Bond.
we need to think about new promotional campaigns for our
Trains.
next song. Yeah, just trains.
Who's the
man.
train cover?
You know it.
Exactly. I know, maybe like a train, maybe like paying on a train or something. Paying a gig on a train.
Yeah, well, that's what.
Yeah.
To be fair, that's the kind of love about the modern day. Like you play gig anywhere. And like there's certain people, especially from Fife, since it's obviously coastal and this place to the water. Like I think there's a thing, Punk on the Peninsula, organised by some people that we know, where you basically go on a giant boat and go around like the coast. Yeah, no, it's awesome, man. There's like a bunch of bands that do it. You and me are playing it, which is a shame.
Is that the thing that Barney does? Or is it different?
I feel like it's like the same sort of idea though. Basically, like go from coast to coast and like basically play on a boat. No, I love the idea of it because people like there are some people I think that get stingy about venues, like if it's not the right size or anything.
Sometimes it's always in the same place all the time.
They don't want to play the same place.
No.
It's nice having local, so to speak, but it's when it's every single gig. I don't know. I just think it kind of takes out a bit of the magic of going to different places.
Yeah.
It's always nice meeting new people in different bands with different scenes and different music and that.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a big part of travelling around and stuff for us.
We really like the idea of like if somebody offers us a gig and it's in a place we've never played before.
Like here as well, for example.
Oh yeah, no, like we're quite familiar with here now, and which is quite good. But I remember when I was younger, like a lot younger, I was always like, it'd be really cool to go outside of Fife because while there is venues and bands there, it's not where you want to end up, it's where you want to start and progressively work your way out to bigger cities and such. I mean, we've technically got a city now in Dunfermline, but I don't know when that's meant to be like official or whatever. Wasn't it the Queen's?
It's pretty small, isn't it?
It is official. It's just like
no one really
It's a
cares.
city of like 60,000 people.
It
has a name.
Something small, but
Well, it's weird as well about where we live because even though there's 500,000 people in the county of Fife, it's all scattered throughout different areas. So it's very like tight knit, the music scene. It's very different to over here because, you know, let's say Fife has like, you got big towns like Kirkcaldy and North Esk, Cooper and all that. They will at most have like a venue or two or maybe three, and then there'll be at most maybe like a couple, like a handful of bands. But because we have access to multiple towns and multiple public transport routes, you're able to like constantly play at different areas. But when you have a place like here, where it's all condensed into like this giant area that like, you know, gradually spreads out, it feels like it makes a bit more sense. And there's a lot more bands and a lot more music scenes.
Like comparatively, the Fife music scenes, like if Edinburgh were like the coral reef,
Fife music's
Great
dead.
Barrier Reef, like Fife music scenes like the little goldfish bowl, like in London, you know?
Yeah.
It's like so the two things in comparison are like, you know, those
We've always sort of said that this sort of like goldfish bowl-esque thing, big fishes in small ponds.
Yeah, exactly.
And some people are okay with that and we're happy to not do that, but I think we all sort of agree that we want to keep pushing ourselves forward to you know, people complain to many people. I mean, we now need to harass you to come to a gig because now that you made that promise, I'm bad for that. Like people will be like, I'm coming to your show, and I'm like, you better not.
Come to Edinburgh. Come to Edinburgh. That's the one.
Edinburgh.
Come Edinburgh.
Or Edinburgh. You get Americans that call it Edinburgh.
That's it, Edinburgh.
Oh.
I don't know why they do that. They're really saying that sense, don't they?
Well, that's another thing that's totally different about this place is the multiculturalism here is way different. Like so many more different races, colours, creeds, religions.
That's why it's not cliquey. It's just like it's just there's no local clique. You know, it's just like it's just a mix.
Everybody's spread out. You can meet so many like different types of people here. It's really cool.
And like there's you know, the metal scene in Fife must be quite decent size there as well. I don't see
Edinburgh is like the place for the metal scene.
Yeah, Edinburgh and Glasgow.
Glasgow metal goes hard.
So it's like you've got this really small subsect in Fife that doesn't really like, it's not prominent I'd say, but it exists.
It's a shame.
But you guys obviously consider as a Fife band then?
Yeah, we would have to say that. So Lemi doesn't get a choice no matter, it's 3-1.
I was going to say it's 3-1, so it's easier just saying band based in Fife than it is Fife in Edinburgh, you know. And then I'll probably end up moving somewhere different in 2 weeks, so.
Fife is fast then.
Yeah, but
the Slash York if it's
the alternative scene where we are is quite strange. It's not actually as young centric as you think it is. There's a lot of like the punk scene specifically is filled with a bunch of like older bands. There are like 1 or 2 young ones as it should be, but the young bands, like bands in our sort of age bracket, a lot of them are more focused around like indie and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But a lot and it's a shame because it's kind of like a double-edged sword because there's a lot of absolutely amazing metal and punk bands in Fife that we are all really good friends with and that we all like, share a sense of community. But there's another subsect of them that are all just sort of like old boomers that want to play the same music that they heard 40 years ago, and they'll bring the same mates that were listening to that music 40 years ago. And they think that that's alright, like they'll just be like, yeah, let's bring the same like 50 people that have heard our show in our set that's never changed once, and they'll all be like, these guys, absolutely amazing, they're bringing it back. I'm like, bringing what back? Bringing back 40 years worth of like progress. Come on, man.
The thing is, they're quite resentful and cliquey towards all the other punk bands.
Yeah,
That's the
Like,
issue. Like, it isn't like
and
it's
all the
inherently
other bands as
bad.
well.
Like, if they wanted to do that, fair game. It's their own gig and that. But
Like
it's
all the
like
nonsense that happened to Gary recently, and all the
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
that happened to like Gary and all that stuff, you know what I mean? It's just like,
There's
nonsense, you know?
a very weird sense of like crabs in a bucket. Like there's a
Yeah.
sense that if there's one band that are, you know, doing their own thing and then they're doing it well, some people are just like, oh, those guys, they clearly don't care about the scene, and it's like, no.
if you think about it, we're like the musical Jesus, and that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, we're so prolific, you know. I'm actually like John Lennon and Kurt Cobain, born again. I also beat my wife just to stay accurate to the character.
True crucifixion, you know.
Yeah, but yeah, we don't want to give off like a whole holier than thou vibe. Like we're just doing what we want to do just as much as everybody else is, and that's all we can
it's
do.
not holier than now when you see cliquiness and you go, I don't want anything to do with that.
But like I just
That's just being rational, you know what I mean? It's just being like, I don't want to have to deal with that. And it's nice when you meet other bands that feel the same way.
yeah.
Within Fife even, there's a lot of bands in Fife that feel the same way.
100%.
You know what I mean?
We basically latch on to them and go like, come on, be friends.
It's love you so much.
Oh, dude, honestly, shout out to you and me when the
Yes.
podcast goes out. You need to
Yeah,
get
yeah.
these guys on. They are like the best punk band.
They're like genuinely like a proper hardcore punk band who are also young.
Yeah, they're all
That's
like
underrated.
barely 18 and they're
Yeah,
absolutely amazing.
They're immense.
We got asked, like they nearly played with me and Dom's old band and we never got around to it. So when we played with them on a bill with this band, I immediately was like, you guys are amazing. It took me back because as soon as we finished playing, we took our set list off and they put theirs on stage. And our set list had like 8 songs and theirs had like 16. And I was like, man, I miss being in a punk band. Like, it's got like half hour song stuff.
Rapid, like
Yeah.
proper rapid drumming. And that's brilliant.
We used to love doing that, all the D beat stuff. And
Yeah.
now that I'm like older and trying to be more mature as a songwriter, I'll be a lot more closer to like 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, just getting that groove and riffing and stuff like that.
Exactly. And back to the grindcore as well, like they would play all the songs literally, they went through like 1 minute like, song.
1 minute if you're lucky, like 30 seconds and stuff. There was Napalm definitely did those 2 songs at 3 seconds each.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so gnarly.
I think I know that. Is that on their Scum album?
Yeah.
That's so cool. That's I see that.
So funny, like I love it. I do like grindcore, but you never really find people listening to that stuff, you know.
Grindcore gets
I-
a song.
Yeah, the grindcore scene is booming recently.
Yeah.
All 8 members.
The entire world grindcore scene. It's funny to see society get called grindcore.
I figured that.
And we were like,
No.
not grindcore, and it's like a little bit grindcore,
A little bit.
tiny little bit.
Yeah, essence of grind.
Like none of us are really into grindcore, but like I think the way all our influences sort of join together, it sort of ends up being a bit grindcore. And it's
It's kind of like we just accidentally ended up sounding like Deftones and then we just
Yeah,
started
yeah,
taking it
yeah.
around.
That's a question.
Oh yeah.
It's the Deftones.
Yeah, no,
I love
don't-
Deftones.
Oh yeah, well perfect because we all love Deftones as well.
Yeah,
a lot of our music, the stuff that isn't
It's
released.
kind of grungy in a way. It's like
Deftones to me is very grungy, like
Beautiful
the
songs.
simplistic riffs.
Passenger is a good one.
Mhm. All around the fur, White Pony Man, and like the
Right.
self.
Yeah.
Honestly, man, like
Red Velvet man is a great one.
oh yeah.
That's beautiful.
The thing that was really funny is we started sounding more like that, and I was using a lot of chord progressions that sounded like that before I got into them. Lemmy actually sat down and was like, "Do you like Deftones?" And I was like, "No." And I was like, "I know of them, but I don't listen to them." And he was like, "Are you sure?" Totally like all those big drony chords. And my girlfriend's really, really into them, and I definitely give her credit for a lot of cool bands that she's got me into. And I finally sat down and started listening to it, and then I got with Will and I was like, dude, you've got to listen to this band. Like, he came,
Deftones are great. I've never seen them live. But
oh, I wish I could. Apparently, Chino Moreno isn't as good on vocals anymore now.
No wonder if you heard his screams in hexagrams.
Yeah,
I'm
true.
surprised he's not had surgery, man.
Mhm.
he does feel it. doesn't he?
Well, they talk about that in the 4th album they made. He actually had to get proper vocal lessons because he was like destroying himself. And it makes sense. I wish I had done that sometimes.
You wish
but-
you destroyed your vocal cords.
No, I wish I had a bit more, I had more classical training in vocal technique so I don't destroy myself after every gig. Because if we end up having to play like 3 shows back to back to back, you've heard what I'm like after one set where I'm like, hey guys, great show, it was really good, awesome. Like I'm gonna have to start getting better at like preserving myself. Because there's gonna be one gig that we play where like halfway through the set, like I'm just like, I cut out and it never comes back. I'll be like Ariel in The Little Mermaid. The little grunge boy who could.
That's the toxic bank in my friends.
I
might be actually. Yeah.
So the little engine that could.
That's it. I was wondering where that came from. I thought that was so long.
That's it. You got it.
That's like when you like hear a song for ages and you can't remember it. Like I've always heard people go like the little blank that could, and I didn't know it was from Thomas the Tank Engine. Well, that's full circle then. We're back to trains.
Yeah, training.
But Daisy, I know Daisy was a quite good Daisy from Thomas the Tank Engine. She was like one of the veil buses, you know.
Yeah, they had everything in there, didn't they? They made see the faces back. Like,
What was Toby, man? He was the coolest train.
Was that
It's
the
like
red
a
one?
mountain wagon
Toby
thing.
was
Yeah.
Toby was the wee, I don't know if it's like a steam shunter or something.
No, Toby was like, he was like an old
Square. Wooden square.
mountain rail wagon.
Yeah.
Like the sort of thing that would be cable towed rather than, you know what I mean, like up the Alps or something, you know. I don't know what Toby was supposed to be.
I'm thinking like Diesel, the black one, the black.
Yeah, he was like a class A or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was.
But
It's beautiful.
I still stand by the fact that all those little weird plastic faces from Thomas the Tank Engine are like terrifying.
No,
now.
the humans are really fucking. You ever looked at the fat controller for more than 5 seconds?
Sorry, that's
Oh, here we go.
you know,
That's fat
the
phobic,
fat city is fat.
No, it's actually the Brave controller. The stunning and Brave controller.
Not at all unhealthy, not at all easy, you know.
Yeah, we have to start saying slay all the time. You know, like I like my Versace bag. Instead of like-
Versace.
Yeah, we became.
They said that's it. Make it like a modern Thomas the Tank Engine with the newer trains, you know, they could do it like a class 66, you know, with a face on it.
As in the modern, well, that's sort of what they did, like with the books, because obviously the Reverend wrote the books.
Did
And
they
then the
actually do
TV
that?
show and stuff, they started to bring in like more modernised like EMUs and stuff into it
And it-
as it progressed, and that's how all the new characters came in. That was like why Diesel was such a grumpy, you know, so and so,
There's
because
no steam engines or so.
yeah, because he was seen as the threat to like the age of steam because he was a diesel engine.
Do you guys remember the other weird kids?
They do smoke cats with diesels, the old ones.
Do you guys remember the weird show? It's kind of like it's not planes because that's like the Cars thing, but it was. I think you might help me out with this.
I already know what it
Yeah,
is.
it's like there's this weird American show where like it was a bunch of like planes, like biplanes, and they had these like animated.
Is that JJ the Jet?
That's it.
Yes!
Yeah.
It is disgusting.
Yeah.
It looks so
So
bad.
I had like little PC games with the discs on them, so I'd sit there as a kid trying to like work out how to work these, but in my mind was like fucking like religious text.
The sacred text of JJ
I
the Jet.
could never figure out how to get the disc to load, so I would just sat there like some kind of chump just looking at my screen for 3 hours.
Yeah, the JJ in that thing actually stands for both Jesus and Joshua. That's why it's like it's actually an Abrahamic plane.
It's like the Airburst train, it's like the Airburst train.
That show just absolutely terrifies me, man. I remember I tried to watch it when I was older and I was really high and I was just like, nah, I'm turning this off. I'm turning it off. There was a lot of things that they tried to do, like back then for kids, like through gaming, through television. Like we were really focused on like integrating education into consumption of media, and it didn't work. And maybe it's
Because then it's like insidious and subversive.
Well, nah, because
you're teaching them though.
But
It's like you're also brainwashing them.
What about Brum?
Oh no, I'm not watching everything.
No, not everything.
Like, there's a lot of stuff that was.
My boy's Rum doesn't get talked about in that way, yeah?
Your boy Brum.
Like, there was no brainwashing or anything.
Nah,
It shows
that was
like
just
Brum.
great
That was just
Brum.
like great TV shows.
They tried really hard, and it's kind of a shame because clearly it didn't work because a lot of the shows like kind of fell flat. But there was a couple that really worked. I remember growing up with like things like Balamory and stuff
Oh
like that.
yeah, Balamory.
Like
That was actually alright.
No,
It was dead weird though, in English, right?
Yeah.
Because I'd be watching this stuff down when I was in England, when I used to live back down there. And then I'd come up to Scotland and I was like, why is it like Balamory everywhere?
I don't think I've ever seen anybody in Scotland with a smile as big on their face as the folk at Balamory.
I actually went past the wee island where they
That's
shot
what-
Balamory
yeah.
before. It's quite mad seeing it in person.
It's just
Spencer works for Stagecoach as well.
there's going to be like a Stagecoach tie-in episode of Balamory where we talk about like the real striking workers' rights and unions.
Is it Lucy Jump as well? Is that her name?
Yeah, she's the one in the yellow, isn't it?
He did see the bus drive, sees the bus
I like
drive.
Archie as well, the one who's
Archie,
in the castle in the pink. I always loved his sweater, man. I wanted a sweater and kill combo, man. Man was balling.
His dances as well. well.
He was
Yeah.
he was dripping before we knew what it was.
PC Prom, is it? His name is?
PC Plod? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not Plod. Who's Plod?
Prom, I don't know.
We're just,
Plod.
we're
Oh,
just
that's Noddy, bro. That's Noddy.
That's
Go on,
Noddy.
mate. I don't know.
I just feel like we're unraveling years of repressed memories of like, all the television I watched as a child.
It's all changed a lot actually. I don't keep out of the kids' TV programs.
Honestly, I'm terrified for what kids watch nowadays, man. Because my girlfriend, she's got a sister that's like about 8 years old, and whenever she does watch television, like I'll sit in the room occasionally and like try and pay attention to it,
Okay.
and it's scary, man. Like just what they're doing now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get me wrong. At the same time, the stuff that we watched when we were younger was just as bad, but it's like when you see it through the lens of the non-target audience, because that stuff's made to appeal to them and make them be consumers of that product.
Exactly.
But when you remove yourself from it and you kind of look at it from an objective eye, when you have more.
Yeah, you're just like, oh.
And there are some shows that are timeless that you could watch at this day and age and they're still well done. But there's a lot like that Coco Melon stuff that kids are watching, man. It just gives me the poke. I don't like it. I'm just an old boomer already, you know. I
sound like it, though.
I hate children. I hate fun. I hate freedom. I hate personal responsibility. I just want to be a bug man that lives in a pod and eats Soylent burgers. That's all I want to do. I want to buy Funko Pops. I want to consume media that's made specifically for me that never challenges my worldview. And I want to like tell everybody that Marvel is peak cinematography. That's what I am.
Nobody's going to believe that.
Well,
They're already spouting it, that's the issue.
I'm so anti-establishment that like during like Pride Month, all the establishment-based corporations talk to me and give me products for money because I love rainbow capital. I love being marketed to it. I love
Sex Middle East.
yeah, like Bethesda, Saudi Arabia. It's a shame that everything, literally everything from like your identity to your expression can be monetized just so that people can make money off of it. And I'm not saying that I'm anti-capitalism either. I just think I'm anti-corporatism. I just think it's dumb.
I was talking about the whole Jennifer Lawrence, of course, being the first female action hero in history. Stunning and brave, as always.
I'm stunning.
And I was saying, I did the post and I mentioned that the notion of like gender or identity-based grifting. And Ian thought that was the funniest thing he'd heard like all year. He's like, that's hilarious.
I remember
gender-based grifting.
We talked about this before for like, you know, being able to like make a buck off of like identity politics.
Yeah,
I remember saying to you guys, it was like, give it like another year or two and there'll be a Rosa Parks Funko Pop to show that you stand with both BLM and Chase Bank.
Yeah. That was double.
Yeah. Like it's a really sad thing. Like there's no real like modern day activists that aren't already getting like their money funneled into something else.
Yeah.
Like there was a perfect example, like in Edinburgh, when we were getting the last time we were going through here, we were driving past on the bus, and obviously there's a lot of shops on Princess Street that are boarded up that people can feed on. And there's this person that was like, they basically consistently wrote along the lines like Barclays is a massive contributor to the fossil fuel industry and all these things. And as I'm reading them all as we're driving past, I was like, okay, that's a pretty cool and informative thing. I didn't know that. All the way until the very end, where she had written in chalk her @ for her Twitter. And we're doing climate activism. Like, you could have done all of that and not put your handle, but you want to be credited as being a
Elevator climate activists use iPhones.
Slash capitalism as I tweet from my iPhone.
It's hilarious.
Well, just
video games.
Video games. We're all quite big.
We're all massive.
We're all gamers, guys.
Gamers, yeah. Simulation games for me. Simulation games, that's my jam.
Racing, yeah.
Yeah. And we're talking about it earlier on. I was saying
Yeah,
I just bought. I've been wanting to buy Gran Turismo 7 since it came out. There's like loads of issues like when it first came out, like the online and everything, and they were like complaining because they'd like tried to make the games grindy as possible, like post-release. So the game is fine to begin with, but then they tried to make it more grindy. And it was also really expensive, and I don't have a lot of money, so I was like, I don't really want to buy it initially.
See, I've just reverted. I always go on about this. Like, I can't hack modern games anymore because the money you pay for what you get just ain't right anymore.
Yeah.
So now I'm sitting here with like a 900 quid PC bill playing Counter-Strike 1.6 by myself, and I'm
at like 300 frames a second.
it's just like, wow, just here.
I'd say we're all very gaming oriented, and a lot of our our free time when we're not like jamming or partying is usually spent that's how this band started. I mean, Dom and Will were playing Time Splitters together. That allowed us to like conversate and have an idea. We've all got very eclectic taste. Dom has, in my opinion, the best games collection I've ever seen, because the second you walk into his flat, it's just wall to wall like, you know, alphabetical order, consoles, generations upon generations of consoles.
You know, it's good when he's got like
So
a
he
set
has-
stack of Dreamcast games.
Oh yeah.
Separate section.
I mean, actually, we do like you would actually do like his own gaming channel or something. If you
You
had-
can mention
Well,
that.
about this time last year, me and my partner Emma, we actually set up our living room. I don't even know if I've really showed you guys this yet, but we set up our living room so that all our games consoles go through our capture card. So we could start doing streaming. And we did like a couple, we did like 5 or 6 or something like that. But then we found out we're pregnant, we're expecting a baby. It was like, that can wait, we'll do that another time, you know what I mean? So other things to focus on then.
Family vlog channel now, isn't it?
I've still got my mic and everything, it's all still set
Why
up.
do you do a
so
band?
it's-
Why you should do a band live stream?
You fucking should. That's what I see Gary and Stay for Tomorrow does.
Yeah,
They
man.
do that all the time. Yeah, they do it all the time. You sit and it's not just like modern stuff. We not do play modern stuff. It's just like Crash Team Racing. And
Sitting around the table, talk gash and play games.
I played Day too.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
builds are in.
don't even start.
The sweatiest Payday 2 player.
Oh,
God.
See, I was always a big sucker for like fantasy, like a lot of like RPG based games. That's where I got my
Yeah.
stuff. I love role playing because it let me like do things that I
Yeah.
couldn't do in real life.
It seems like most of the gamers do that sort of thing. They will play.
Yeah, it's like a form of escapism. Like I'm mad into like all the Elder Scrolls, the Fallout. So Dragon Age is like a really big one for me. That was one of like the first exposures I had to like the like fantasy. But like we've all got quite an eclectic taste. It's just really fun to do
I
with.
think that's an interesting point as well. It's like a lot of us play games to, I don't want to be the cringy guy, but to escape reality as it were. Yet everybody's so like in tune with making games more realistic, and I think it's kind of counterproductive. It's like, I want to play this game so I can have fun and forget that I work. Yeah, here's a game where you can VR work. You know,
This is why this is quite controversial because most people seem to disagree with me here. But this is why I never understand. As much as I appreciate the detail that's gone into making these games, it's why I never quite understand the obsession with the Animal Crossing games, right?
Everyone
loves Animal Crossing, right? But I'm just like, I'm spending my day to like make money to pay my bills. And
I
have
can't
to
get a
paid.
mortgage these years.
Yeah.
So the only way I can get a mortgage
It's an Animal Crossing. It's
That
that makes sense.
is like
Okay,
Kevin
I might
Spacey.
play the Animal Crossing game.
It's pretty good, man.
I just downloaded. I've got like a big ROM pack for my EverDrive 64.
Oh, nice.
And there's like a modded, patched, translated version of the original Animal Crossing Animal Forest for the N64 from
Yes.
2001.
Right.
This is just the GameCube version, but before it was ported to the GameCube. And I was like, oh man, this game's like older than probably the same age as you guys, basically. How old are you guys? Are all in your early 20s?
Yeah.
I'm
2001 was when you were
I'm
born.
20.
So it's the same age as you, because that's the year it came out. So this game's the same age as you guys. And I'm like, man, it's like an N64 game, this Animal Crossing. And just to me, I was like, wow. Animal Crossing's always seemed like a more
It's
concurrent.
because of the new leaf from 3DS.
Yeah. That's still on everyone.
Yeah, I mean, it took all like the Sanrio, Hello Kitty, e-girls and Bottoms by storm.
Like
And,
that,
yeah.
absolutely.
I mean, like I've had to watch like Cameron, my partner, play it like at length. And I'm just like, sweetheart, you have a job. Like you have a real life job, and you would absolutely suck at real life farming. And all honesty.
Farming Simulator, then that's the.
Oh yeah, Farming Simulator. I've never played it, but I have a friend who's really
Quite
into it.
relaxing.
Farming Simulator's like the hardcore version of like Harvest Moon or something like
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean? Like Ruden. What's it called? Ruden?
Just not
RuneScape.
They changed the name of Harvest Moon to like Fantasy something or. They changed the name of the franchise.
I know Harvest
It's-
Moon, but
it's still the same thing. They just changed the name for the more modern games to like Fantasy Farm or some shit. Some nice rubbish shit.
But it's like that's like the best. That's probably the most popular simulation game. I just think it's quite casual, but I don't think many people would know the chapter bands.
No.
Yeah, simulation games are weird. Like Train Simulator.
Train Sim World.
Yeah, like all of that.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like you're just like you go home from your job to play a game about a job that you don't work at. Like surely you could just maybe want to become a train conductor.
No, see the thing.
The trains again, eh? That's it.
Well, yeah, the thing I really like about simulators, specifically like train simulators and specifically racing simulators, like is it
Wait, racing simulators I get. Like
but iRacing as well. Yeah, Automodelista. There's loads of good. The thing I like about them is like the modding community. Is
Yes.
the thing I like because
right.
even if the game comes out and it doesn't have certain contents like specialist, like specific content, only certain people are going to like. like heritage railways and
Yeah.
old racecourse. Like there's one for Alto Modelista, and someone's like basically recreated the original like 1930s Gesamtstrecke, which is like
Really?
which is like the whole Nürburgring, so the Nordschleife
The old
and like
one.
the Schutzschleife or whatever is the bottom half,
That's-
and they've linked it all together, and they've modelled everything like, as it was the original version, like in 1939 or whatever it was last.
Comes with
That's
free
the-
fun.
And it's got everything, and I'm like, and it looks like it's like you're there. It's like a time capsule. And
Yeah.
stuff like there's a lot of, I can't remember because I was researching this a couple of months ago. There's a lot of rail simulators that have a similar thing when it comes to user created content. And they have like old heritage railways that don't exist anymore. And I'm like, that's amazing. That's like a way of
Preserving.
like almost like visiting like a time capsule of like a
They actually do that. There's something similar. When you mentioned just specifically like preserving history,
Yeah.
Minecraft is scarily weird for that. They've got like they have their own equivalent of like the Library of Alexandria.
No, it is
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Alexandria.
they have that. But the other thing that I found funny, so they have like a form of preserve because it's useful for people in very like oppressive countries like China and North Korea where they don't have as much access to Western information. But there was even a time that I still get cracked up at this. There was an individual who got arrested by the CIA for making a 1-to-1 scale replica rendition of one of like the classified air bases.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so like it had like and it kept like the right inventory of like all the vehicles they had, all the weapons, and like could you imagine like first of all that is like hyper fixation level autism. But could you imagine like the CIA show up to your door and they're just like, sir, are you familiar with the game Minecraft? Then there's actually a thing now that certain people do, like there's a little online joke where now because of this, people will like say like a joke is like, I'm going to bomb the White House in Minecraft.
In Minecraft, yeah.
It's like federal agents, please do not. I'm only going to bomb Edinburgh City Centre in Minecraft.
Yeah, but it won't stop because it's still like they went to their door and it was for something in Minecraft, so that's not even going to stop. You know, what I mean? It's like you're still going to get approached by the feds.
A wee bit more of the simulation stuff, I think. So Train Sim World, yeah, that's the game. It's actually really good. You got the Kafka circle line if you wonder if there's any Scottish loops.
It's the most like
Yeah,
modded form to play, right? Isn't it? It's like got the most content.
Yeah, because that's what I was researching
It's
recently.
DLC, but they're not modded stuff in Train Sim World.
Yeah.
Oh right, okay.
See, that was what I was looking for. Was like what train simulator, if I invested in it, would
might-
give you the best bang for your
Maybe
buck.
Transport Fever, I think, is a game that's
Yeah.
not like modern
A
Canadian.
lot of mods, yeah.
But
And
this-
Flight Sim as well. The new Flight Sim
That's
is
crazy.
Oh, that's crap.
and see stuff like cloud-based gaming, which is essentially what Flight Sim, the new one is. Right? Well, if you think about it, because everything's coming, all the data is coming from their servers. The geography. Like,
right.
the genius thing about that, from at least from a publisher's point of view, not from an end user's point of view, is that it's essentially piracy proof. Because
Yeah.
like you have to have a connection. Because
Well,
all cloud-based
DRM
stuff. Well, they don't have to have DRM.
No,
You
no,
have to connect to the server in order to play it. And it's fundamentally part of the game. Like cloud-based, there's certain games like all the new Resident Evil games have been ported to the Switch, but they're all cloud-based,
Cloud-based, yeah.
so they're all rendered on like the Nvidia servers or whatever. And so you always have to have a connection in order to play the game, which from the end user perspective is a bit annoying because it means you can't play the game offline, you have to be connected all the time. But it means you can play a really cool looking game on rubbish hardware.
Yeah.
See, the
which
big
is
problem with
sweet.
that for me is though, it gets interrupted, you end up getting a lot of input delay.
Yeah.
Which is fine for games like Resident
Yeah,
Evil.
But when you play fighting games and that like Tekken 7.
No, I agree. That's the problem. Is that like you're at the behest of the technical limitations of your network.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I bought this game for like 50 quid, and I can't play it because the network's crap, and because this is crap, and the servers are down.
Welcome to
And
my
you know what I mean? It's just like, well, as much as it's cool it's a good idea because it makes it piracy proof. It's also annoying.
This
It's
is
in the
why
same way that all
PS4
DRMs.
is,
Like, yeah, exactly. It all just comes back to like
have to do that.
Yeah.
See, PS Plus, like PlayStation did their PS Plus like deal, whatever. You could like stream games from like the PlayStation.
PS
3.
Now.
Yeah,
That's
PS
right.
Now. That's now.
That's not a thing anymore. I don't remember that.
No, I've got like integrated.
It was horrendous.
It was really shit. But I took it upon myself to try and beat one of the Sonic games that was on it. Nightmarish experience. Terrible. It was like twice as hard because like the buttons just wouldn't like respond to what I was pressing.
They did that on Xbox as well, like stream it, like you could.
It's alright with Xbox. I'm gonna put that out there right
No,
now.
no, no.
They've got the.
Yeah, they got it down quite well. They're just like, the thing that I hate though is the way that they market it. They're like, do you want to play a game without having to install it? It's like, you used to be able to do that. You used to just pop the disc in and that's what happened. But now they're like, guys, we got this. brand new spanking product for you. It's like when Greg started to advertise that they sell food that they put in the oven before they give it to you. That's the point. That is exactly the same thing. It's like, this is what I hate about the modern world. Is like we
There's too much like Greg's.
They're all going
I hate Greg's. I hate gamers. I hate gamers that like Greg's. But no, the Xbox version of that streaming thing was actually quite cool. But I do remember like there was mild input delay. But I like
It's nothing like PlayStation.
was it not? Was it unbearable?
No, it was horrible sometimes.
Yeah. PlayStation was just as bad as Stadia. I'm not where Stadia ended up.
Bro, what happened to that?
Just same with PS Now. It was shit. Nobody could afford it.
I remember there was so many
That's
advertisements. There were so many ads for Stadia all the time. Every time I was on YouTube, there was always like the new generation of gaming, and then I never heard anything from
The
it.
issue is that most consumers, right, if you're buying stream-based like stuff like games, it's because you probably don't have the hardware to run it. If you don't have the hardware to run it, then you don't have the Wi-Fi to run it, because you're going to need like a minimum of 60 down there. And if you don't have that, then the streaming services are just useless.
I had a rant about this entire subject with my brother-in-law Graham on the way to New York, right, when we were driving down. And because he was asking me like how video games, because he hasn't really been into video games for like 20 years or something. I mean, I gave him an Xbox a while back, I played Xbox, but he was saying how have video games changed in the past like 20 odd years. So I explained.
It's patches nowadays. That's
I explained to him like roughly how everything's changed and how graphics have developed and like what the latest sort of cutting edge stuff with the graphics is. What's the latest buzzword, you know, stuff like real-time ray tracing and all that sort of stuff.
Unreal 5, isn't it?
But like what's happening now when it comes to like the sort of the paradigm of how people consume video games, like you have, if you want to get like even just 10 years ago, if you wanted to get like the sort of the GTX 680 or 690, which was like back in 10 years ago, was like the graphics card to have, like 400, 500 quid tops, like if you got the really good like like factory spec ones from Nvidia or whatever, you could get one for 300 quid if you knew where to go. But now it's like if you want to get like a 3090 or 4090, whatever the newest one is, 4080, it's like $2,000 or something. It's like stupidly expensive for like just what is supposed to be normal graphics hardware.
Yeah.
So what's happening now is if you want to play games locally and render games, because like graphics technology is advancing so much, you need these big massive graphics cards that cost a lot to run because energy is now more expensive. You've got to render it all locally. What's happening is you're getting a lot of people are now. This is why the cloud streaming like sort of platform is now becoming more appealing to a lot of people, because it's like you could spend thousands and thousands of pounds on getting a rig that is going to be able to render the stuff and spend the lecky keeping it running, or we've got this Google Stadia, or we've got this Steam Deck, or we've got this or the Nvidia Shield or whatever.
Yeah, it feels like
it's only a couple $100 and it's a cheaper alternative. I mean, you have to stream it all on our servers, and you're at the behest of our servers, and if our servers go down, you can't play the game you paid for
it saves you a grand.
But it saves you a lot of money. So it's like you can see why people are going down that route, or at least why they're trying to funnel people down.
Yeah, it feels like you don't have a choice. It's like
they're making it prohibitively expensive to own the hardware to render it locally.
Provide the proper
precisely. And like what you were saying before about the whole, it's like, when Greg started marketing, saying, we now reheat your food up for you. It's like, what? That's not a selling point. You're supposed to do that at the beginning.
The solution to this all is just listen to our music, really.
All this is covered in all the songs we ever write.
We basically have like about an hour's worth of material that just explains why we dislike many things. Yeah. This is, I swear to God, exactly what it's like in the studio in between us. We just sit at the window and we're just like, so, do you hate this as well? Yeah, man, absolutely. And then we get back in and we're like amped up, we're like, right, the song's about drinks. And for anybody that's listening at home, we do have more music coming out on the way. Make sure to follow us on all relevant social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook and Spotify. You can tell me to say that for people. Little bit of shameless self-promotion never hurt anybody. It's actually been really, really fun. It's just been a few o'clock. Do you want to wrap up the now? And just
do you want to go a bit longer? How long?
I mean, I'm kind of happy with where we've left it there. I think it was pretty good. Nice, compact.
Yeah.
It was really, really nice. Thanks so much for having us. Thank you to all you lovely people listening.
We were good at like a guy knows you, one of my pals knows you, Chris, and he was saying, Chris is a massive Deftones fan, by the way. He's like, he will ask you if you like the Deftones. And we were like, we love the Deftones. It's like, we should ask him if he likes the Deftones. And he would just be like, yes! That's a
we could have gone on to the question that we used to jam together. When we used to jam.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys used to do
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Oh,
So we
right,
got
nice.
previous connections. So like when I used to because I've not really been in bands many of my life, but I used to practice in Edinburgh a lot. I was always in like the hardcore scene and stuff. So I've
Yeah.
seen bands like the Colour Pink is Gay and that.
Nice.
Absolutely top tier. But I'd known of Chris through Facebook mutuals for a while in Uptown.
Yeah.
And then I think we only ended up having one jam, but we just smashed out a bunch of Metallica for a few hours. And it was absolutely
That's kind of all jams.
yeah, it was lush. It was just this great big session of jamming and stuff. And then that was the last time. There was one more time after that, I think I seen you, and then ever since then I've just been kind of going nuts with my own stuff. And then this is the first time we've seen each other.
I know, it's been ages ago.
And I was like, hey yo, he's got a podcast. God damn! I remember when you used to
This is
send
it,
to the radio.
This is what I'm going to that would be nice.
Innit? So I'm just like really happy to see the progression, man. It's cool, innit? Like you went from radio to podcast, and
yeah,
it's sick.
this is going to be the continuation.
Oh right, I'm all for it. Like,
Well, we hope to see a continued growth in
Yeah.
your channel. And if you want,
with the Simons as well.
well, if you want as well, we can. Well, obviously, there's a couple of bands that we know. We could send.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have like a list of people specifically that you have lined up.
Just email them. Like you can actually do that. You can hit them up.
Oh yeah, spread the word, man. Because
Yeah,
like
exactly.
obviously you'll probably get some subscribers from our fans that watch this, and then you bring more bands on, and it's like a slow, growth. But it's always really cool to see like different areas of the creative industries, broadcasting and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I was specifically centered around music and music business, and then you guys all did like production and sound production, and then you go specifically broadcasting. And it's like there's a lot of avenues beyond just music that are needed to promote things like music. You can't have airplay without radio.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right, that's what I mean. Now we used to do the radio show, and obviously this is the podcast. That's the main thing. We didn't actually talk about the songs you guys released on the pod. Just a quick.
Oh yeah.
That's the main event.
Yeah, no, finally, last but not least, well,
We can go longer.
Well, we can edit. What we can do is we can edit that bit that you did, and we can just put that in the
Yeah,
end.
we'll swap it out, but,
And have the rest of it.
if we talk about this, I'd like to wrap up after that. But the music that we have online is, we sadly only have 2 singles, because we do a lot of things in between. Like there are some bands that are specifically focused on recording and releasing a bunch of music and then gigging, or the other way around. But we've always liked to sort of juggle multiple responsibilities, and it usually ends up with us being very stressed, but we do like to have fun. But we have 2 singles out. The first one we put out was just before 2021? Was it? Or 2022? No, 2022.
2022, yeah.
And we put out our first one, Over It, which is actually canonically the first song that we ever did as a band, we ever wrote for the band.
Yeah.
So we kind of felt like obligated to put it
Yeah.
out. And then after that, we put out our recent one, Grunge Pop, which was, we wanted to put that out because we were playing a gig in a skate competition, because we're obviously involved with the skate community, and I was just like, we need to get this out. And when we play live, that song, Grunge Pop, is the second last in our set, and it fades into the last song of our set, which we are actually going to release next, called Stupid Violent. And anybody that is a fan of Rudeface and has been to our shows is frothing at the mouth constantly for us to release it, because we had like such an original plan for everything that we wanted to put out, and then life gets in the way. You can't always prepare for stuff like that, and you have to sort of roll with the punches. But for the only 2 songs that we've got, I believe that were like, one's got over 1,000 streams, I think about 1.1 or 2,000, and the other one's about 3,000. So like, all right, and considering the fact that the second one we basically just threw out and didn't promote.
We also have, there's another song that's sort of Rudeface.
Yes, actually, how could I forget?
Yeah.
I don't know, because we're talking. You know what? Shall I explain this?
I didn't do anything for it.
This will be quite funny. So, if you're a fan of gaming, I don't know if you know The Binding of Isaac.
No, I don't actually.
It was a very, very big popular indie game.
roguelike thing.
Very much the Newgrounds style, and very, very popular in the early 2010s. And one of the developers of that game is a man called Florian. And Florian is a games developer and programmer that works with somebody that it lives in me in Willstown, a man called Rhys Anderson.
It's the shoot down from me.
Yeah, total Viking man, absolutely lovely. We always love to go on late night walks with him, walk his dog Truffle.
So like he could be in Assassin's Creed or something.
No. What it is
Soon.
So what it is basically he started to work with this developer, and they were making a new game called Ballfrog, which is a really, really good game, and you can buy it on Steam. Buy it. And we were tasked with making the song for the trailer. So if you look online, the trailer for the game Ballfrog, it's us that created the song, and then we licensed it through my music publishing company, so we were able to appropriately exchange the rights.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, because we're all fans of game design, so we were like, why don't we do some of
If
it?
you make a truck simulator.
Yeah, make a truck simulator, and if you turn the radio station, it's just like our music in different styles, like country, western, and then rock and roll. But no, so that was the last song, not the last song, but that's one of the other things that we've done, and I'm hoping that we can get back into doing things like that.
If you do this particular truck game, you know, like I do all that. I do truck simulations on my other channel if you're listening.
Oh, right.
Yeah, literally, it's all simulation stuff.
Yes, that's all of the recorded music that we have, and it's very lovely. And I better see everybody. I can see you through that little camera, little dick. I can see you.
Not him.
No. You to the left that's watching this with your pal. Follow us on Spotify and follow us on social media. If you don't do it, we'll turn up to your house.
I'm Bob Greggs.
I love that as well. Bob Greggs, and I'll steal all your teaspoons, and I'm not telling you where I'm putting them.
What about Junior as well?
Junior man, I don't know, I've not seen him in Young's, like I was saying.
Shout out to him as well.
You need to Junior, you. Can you depend me anymore on that? You need to get on it. He does, man. Like, Junior gets. Once he's on, you need to watch that, man. That'd be balling. I mean, it's that lad.
You might, you could, I don't know if he's heard of the band. You might have heard of the band.
I'm not sure. Like I said, it's been.
It's not quite finished until it's finished.
I need to keep it down.
I was going to say, I think that's we've got enough content. I think we can wrap up there.
Thank
you so much as well.
We could have been doing it a bit longer because I know we were on a bit of spasm. We could have been going for longer.
Oh no, it's like you've got to get back to Edinburgh to do your sessions. But no, I really like. Thank you so much for having us on, man. It's super appreciated. Oh, right, that's fair enough.
Can we get all the way to the end?
Yes.
For Chris Cornell, I'll do it.
No, but thank you.
Chris Cornell looking like, isn't it?
On behalf of all of us, thank you so much. And thank to you for watching us. Please don't think that we're awful human beings.
Yeah, we're actually really nice people.
The last podcast, he actually just brings in to do get to Hunters of Cyprus. So you can always do something, intro, just say thank you for watching the podcast, something like that.
You did the thing, and you can splice that in from the bit you did earlier now, and then that can just appear there.
Yeah, no.
Or you can just do it again if you want.
So just like telling everybody thanks.
Yeah, just say that skill that you did. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, in you technicolor really.
You'll get that.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, in you technicolor TV rainbow in between, we were Rudeface. You can follow us on all relevant social medias: Instagram, Twitter, Spotify, and Facebook. We hope to see you at our gigs very, very soon. And if you don't, I will cry myself to sleep tonight. Thank you.
Edinburgh as well.
Edinburgh as well.
Yeah, I'll be down to the second list for that.
Thank you very much, and from all of us, goodbye.
Thank you very much. It's good to see you. Did you do mine as well?
Oh, yes, sorry.
First, so thanks again for watching the Hats Off Here Down podcast, listening or watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the podcast. I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers. We're very close to that now. We're not too far from 90 subscribers. So yeah, we're about to get to 100 very soon. I would appreciate that. Make sure to hit the bell notifications. What else did I need to say? Also below in the description box will be my second channel for my gaming and live gig stuff. You can check that out as well. And also below that is an email if you ever want to get in touch to join on the podcast. It's in the description box as well. So yeah, so that's my outro there. So yeah, thanks for having us. We appreciate it.
It's a pleasure.
Let's go back to trains again. Back on the train, back up.
It's all about the trains.
You've got to go and catch up.
This is the outro.
I'm going to go quickly grab some air.
Thank you very much.
It's great.
Thank you so much.